So there you go. This wasn't your average curl video. Hello, welcome back to the Fox Strength Performance YouTube channel. I am Taylor Fox, and today we're talking about dumbbell curls. So when we think dumbbell curls, we're thinking like the purpose of this exercise is to get a major pump in the biceps, building some muscle, making the arms look really good. There isn't like a functional purpose to it other than just to kind of look jacked on the beach or like be pumped in the gym for other days of the week. If you're a bodybuilder, look good on the athletic field. If you play sports and are also hitting the gym hard and on that grind. But we can really think about these exercises as serving functional purposes and just like for injury prevention, being balanced, being well-rounded, so that we're not getting hurt. Very common injury in strongman, but even like deadlifting over under in a powerlifting meet, I've seen guys tear their biceps. Like we don't want that to happen. Honestly, we want to protect them as much as possible. So the first thing that I really think about, so we can actually approach this exercise with the intent of building some of that tolerance in the tendon so that we're able to stay injury-free, have those tendons hold up well under load. Especially going over to strongman where we're lifting stones, we're doing Zercher type carries, front carries, axle cleans, log cleans. You really want to learn how to use the biceps less and have them hold up longer. So they really shouldn't be a huge function of you doing that log clean or of you doing that stone load, but we want that muscle and that tendon to hold up strong through these heavy activities so we can keep on competing, keep on performing well. The second point that I like to think about is just simple recovery, like doing flexion, extension-based exercises. You're getting blood flow into the joint, you're moving your body. It's just another way to feel better and, prioritize your recovery, get yourself in a state to where your performance is going to be on point for the next training day. So I would always read a lot of West Side stuff coming up in the industry, and Louis would talk about extra workouts, Dave Tate would talk about extra workouts to bring up weak points, but then also just getting that blood flow through some different joints. If that's active recovery, that's really going to help you feel better for the next session where you're going really heavy or have a lot of intentional training. So just moving your body with some attention and getting things working in the correct way. Ton of push downs, maybe some hammer curls, I think is beneficial. It doesn't have to all be building muscle, but even with like the winning warm-ups, like it is a warm-up, it is getting you primed and ready, but over time, that cumulative volume of the sets of 25 is gonna have you building a ton of muscle in the long term. That really takes me to the third point, which is that muscular balance. So if you're heavy in the triceps, a lot of us are going to be aiming for. It's big for the bench press, getting those lockouts on the bench press, and it's big for overhead press, getting the bar above your forehead and those triceps kick on to finish the lift. You really need strong triceps if you want to be successful in these movements at competitions to be able to post good lifts. But you're cranking through tricep exercises, you're building your triceps up like crazy, but you don't have a ton of balance between that agonist and the antagonist. So we need to go the opposite direction and do some flexion exercises, build the biceps up. If we create that seamless balance between the front and the back of the joint, your triceps are probably going to start to grow more if you've balanced it out with the muscle on the biceps. I approach these exercises a little bit differently, and I put these in programs for clients to try to have them hitting their accessories hard, fast, and efficient. Get the work done and get out of the gym after you've done all your main movements, your accessories are done, like you're finished. We don't need to be doing 5 sets of bicep curls. Instead, we can accumulate time under tension with iso holds, either during the active reps or on the contralateral side. We can do slower reps, tempo, stuff like that to build that tolerance, to build that capacity. Your typical exercise that you're thinking about with a bicep curl is just a normal alternating curl with dumbbells. Just going back and forth, really working on mind-muscle connection, getting that bicep contraction, full range of motion, good tempo. Nothing special here. We're just trying to get in some solid work, good range of motion, really pushing ourselves to a good rep and reserve number, whether that's 1 or 2, or you want to prescribe failure and really beat that muscle up and get it completely fatigued. A way we can alter this exercise to work on some tendon tolerance, prevent injuries, but at the same time, we're moving a little bit more effectively, we're getting some recovery in, and we're balancing out those 2 different muscle groups. So I'll curl up like this, and then I'm gonna hold on one side while doing reps on the other side. So you wanna get that iso hold to 90 degrees the whole time, and then we switch. This is the kind of thing, because we have that iso hold, this is gonna be much more specific to holding that deadlift or holding a stone and trying to grind through that motion. This muscle is not a prime mover in any of these movements that we're talking about for these 2 particular strength sports, but it is something that is going to be under load during these movements, especially when you're near max and trying to grind through a rep. So you want that load tolerance in the tendon so we don't have an incidental avulsion off the bone and then you require surgery, and then we're setting your career and competitive aspirations back 6 months to a year to really rehab that and get you back to full strength. So I know this exercise is not a dumbbell exercise, and this is a dumbbell video. Wanted to put this in here, a drag curl with cables, using that similar variation of iso hold on the one side and then pulling on the other side. So I like to add in some lower stress variations for my clients and for myself. Sometimes using a dumbbell can be a little too much, or even a barbell. And just the ease of setup. Like if you got a functional trainer, we have the functional trainer at Power Build. We have cable set up. Sometimes just grabbing the dumbbells is a little too much, especially if you just did a dumbbell exercise and you're kind of trying to move on. So this is something I'll put in. It's an exercise we have on the app that I like to prescribe for different programs. And then I like to add this little wrinkle to it with the iso hold, just to add in that aspect of like building up that load tolerance in the tendon, trying to prevent injuries, preparing for the long run. My aim is to keep them healthy and on the platform or on the competition floor performing at their best. So the next variation I want to go over is a Zotman curl. Now, typically this is curling up like we just did in the supinated position, turn over into a pronated position and lower, and you just keep engaging the muscle like that, doing the movement in that function over and over again. What I like to implement is to curl up to 90 degrees and then pronate and supinate back and forth. I usually like about 5 rounds and then lower and then repeat that for reps. So I'll usually do like a 5x5. It's a lot of time under tension, very long sets, but I really feel like this is beneficial, especially if you're lacking the range of motion like me. Like mine is terrible. Like I really am stuck on this side without a lot of range of motion in either direction. I'm a little bit better on my left. This elbow isn't as messed up as this one is because this one's been through it. But that's a great way to underload, build some quality range of motion, because that's a big thing for people like us, competitive strength athletes, people that like to go to the gym and lift a lot. Mobility training, a lot of it should be done under load to try to get those tissues to a tolerable state where they feel comfortable going to that range of motion. So the stretching is great. The soft tissue work is great. I deploy a lot of that as well, but we also should be trying to get some range of motion under load, whether it's doing this Zotman type variation with dumbbells or a squat test in the bottom of a squat, unloaded just your body weight, or holding a kettlebell, trying to really prioritize that position and open that up as much as possible. But yeah, that's a big thing for me, is just, again, getting that quality range of motion, moving your body in a quality way to hit those 3 points. We're preventing injuries because we're opening up the joints a little bit more. We're getting blood flow into the joints by moving them around, getting you recovered for your next session. And then we are balancing out the joint through some different ranges of motion. The last exercise that I want to talk about is 21s. Very old school movement, getting that initial range of motion up about halfway and then going from halfway to the top for another set called 21s, because it was like we'll do 7 of each, 7 full repetitions to end, so 21 total reps. I mentioned the winning warm-up, so I'm a huge fan of high repetition work, building that work capacity, using lighter weights, higher reps. You can build that muscle that's supportive, helps you with recovery and the balance over time, and doesn't beat you up. Because this isn't going to be our primary focus, at least for the powerlifters and strongman that I'm talking to. It's stuff that we don't want to beat our joints up time after time, session after session. We want it to be more of a benefit and an addition to our training than a detriment and like the thing that we're prioritizing over our main lifts. Now you could do this the straight 21 style, or we could incorporate some iso holds just like we did with the other variations where we're kind of like maybe doing some less reps, but we're holding, and then the same thing at the top, unholding to the bottom, and then finish it off with a bunch of full range of motion reps. So then you're not really doing a traditional 21, but it's also a good way to build up the time under tension and push the muscle a little bit more. The thing I always heard about, like with Derek Poundstone, who was very successful in the sport of strongman, was doing very high repetitions with just an empty bar, which I think is great, and that's another method. Wanted to go through some of the dumbbell stuff today, so like this is something I'm thinking just as far as a dumbbell curl can be a great way to train some of these abilities. So there you go. This wasn't your average curl video. Keep lifting those heavy weights. Hold strong.